Well, you guys have asked for this. This is my official final championship table predictions for the 2019-2020 season. I wasn't sure I wanted to make this video considering I made my mid-season predictions 2 weeks back, but it seemed a lot of people wanted me to use the table calculator, so that is exactly what I'm going to do, and that is how I've made my final championship table. Obviously, I'm not going to get all of these predictions right. I could barely get more than one on a normal match day. I did decide to throw in a few shock results in now and again. I'm not really looking into form either. I'm really excited to share my predictions. If you guys are older viewers, you will know when I did my first ever championship predictions, it was my second video on the channel. I'm coincidentally wearing the same shirt. If you guys want to look back at my predictions and know what kind of video I'll be reacting to at the end of the season, you can humour yourselves if you wish. I'll leave the video link on the icon up there. Go and watch it if you want. I'm always interested to know what final championship table have you made using the table calculator. Let me know in the comments down below. I'm always free for a debate. But as always, if you like what you want to support championship content, please make sure you do give this video a like. It's tremendously appreciated. Please subscribe if you haven't done, or if you're new around here, all that will be terrifically appreciated. Some of you have subscribed in my last video, so I'm deeply appreciative about that. And please share this channel to as many football fans, championship fans, or anyone as you can. All of that would really make my day. But without any further ado, let's crack on with my final championship table predictions. So as you see on the left side of the screen is the blank template of the table, and you may have noticed I put the points in the furthest right column so that you guys have an idea how I've calculated your team's points. If you notice straight away, you can see from 23rd to 21st there is a tie on points as well, so it's going to be very tight in the relegation battle. You can also notice in the top two, they're only separated by 1 point. So it's going to be very, very intense, let me tell you. 24th place with 41 points for me is Barnsley. Barnsley do have a few favourable games. I predicted them to have 2 wins. I thought that they are going to have a few shock wins now and again. However, they still got the likes of Leeds to play. They've got Fulham to play as well. Also, in terms of the teams around them, like Luton and Stoke, who they still got to play, they're both away games, and I'm not confident with Barnsley away from home. For me, I think Barnsley are unfortunately going to be cut adrift a little bit with the games they've got. They can be either on it or they could be inconsistent, and it's that inconsistency that I'm not too confident with. Now in 23rd place, now obviously from 23rd to 21st, this is decided on goal difference, so either one of these three sides could be interchangeable. In 23rd for me is Luton Town. I've actually predicted them to go on a little bit of a run, especially in their home games. I think their home performances have improved dramatically. I predicted them to actually have 4 wins, but I think all 4 of these wins are home wins. I don't think I predicted them to have an away win in their last 9 games. They definitely have some winnable games, and if they can put their performances right, they can definitely edge themselves for safety. However, I think the other sides around them are going to do just about enough to ensure their survival. And in 22nd place, this may be the shock, I've got Hull City. Now, obviously, Hull are down there, obviously in their really poor run of form, but their goal difference is ultimately what's decided their fate to be safe and to be relegated to League One. They're conceding a lorry load of goals at the moment, and if they don't fix that, that's only going to go and continue. I predicted them to have 2 wins, which I think is reasonable, 5 defeats, 2 draws. I think that does sound like where Hull would be at the moment, picking up 8 points in their last 9 games. If Hull do go down, I'll be interested to see what they're going to do with Grant McCann. It would be a bit unfortunate if they did go down following how promising they did look midway through the season. In 21st place, I've gone with Charlton. I feel like they're going to be a bit fortunate, especially having that terrific start they had in August and September time. If they did not have that, Charlton could have been dead and buried already. I'm not anticipating them to climb up too high in the table, although I've only got them to lose 3 times. I've actually got them to have 2 wins and 4 draws. So I think Charlton are going to make themselves a little bit resolute, a bit tough to break down, and I think Charlton will nick the result now and again, but I don't think it will be convincing, and I think Lee Bowyer is definitely going to need some reinforcements in summer. 20th place, I've gone for Middlesbrough. I predicted them to have 3 wins, 1 draw and 5 defeats. That sounds just about right, because with Middlesbrough, when they do lose, they do tend to go on a little bit of a winless run. They are quite an inconsistent side. They tend to switch between a win and a loss now and again, so those kind of figures make sense to me. 19th place, I've gone with Wigan. I've actually predicted Wigan to have 4 wins, but I'm predicting to have 5 defeats as well. I'm actually not predicting to have a draw, which could be seen as a bit of a risk, but for me, Wigan at the moment could go on a little bit of a run. I think they could continue that for a bit, then maybe they'll have a really, really bad defeat elsewhere in the middle, but then they'll pick it up again. They've definitely got the defensive players for it and the attacking players, it seems to keep them all stepping up as well. That's why I think they'll get 4 wins in their last 9 games. In 18th place, I've gone for Stoke City on 53 points as well. So it's very close between Wigan and Stoke for me. For me, I think Stoke's form will be pretty even. I think 3 wins, 2 draws, and potentially 4 defeats. I think it does make sense when you think about it, considering with the home games they do have as well. They've got a really important home game against Barnsley, which I think they could take advantage of. I think what's important for them now is that Michael O'Neill stays and builds a very competitive Stoke next season, because they definitely have the squad that should be achieving higher. They've definitely underachieved this season. In 17th place, this may surprise you a little bit. I put Sheffield Wednesday. I'm not even joking here. With their really dreadful run of form they are at the moment, and especially if Gary Monk does not go as well, obviously there's a little bit of a gap between them and Stoke City, so I don't think they're going to have dangers of relegation. As I said, 17th place is where I think they'll finish, but considering the start they did have, that'll be very disappointing, especially with the squad they do have as well. I think they'll have 2 wins, 2 draws, and 5 defeats, which is actually a little bit surprising for me, because considering they only have 2 wins in the last 14, me predicting to have 2 wins in the last 9 is probably a little bit over the top actually, but I do think they will get a few good results now and again. I think Sheffield Wednesday will be quite an inconsistent side, but I think they will have more defeats than wins, and that's why I think they'll be low down as that. I think what also may back it up is that if they do get this points deduction as well, that's why I wanted to be a little bit more critical on Sheffield Wednesday's games as well. Whether they get the points deduction this season or next season, we're going to have to wait and see, but I think it is looming considering that Championship clubs do want them to be punished. In 16th place by 1 point is Huddersfield Town. I actually think they could go on a little bit of a run considering of the performance they put in as well. They do have a few tough games, but I will back them for quite a few of those games. I'm predicting to have 4 wins, 3 draws, and 2 defeats. It's pretty evenly split. Obviously, it could be more defeats than wins. You just don't know with the Championship, considering how inconsistent all 24 teams are. But for me, I think, considering on the performances, I think Huddersfield could go on a little bit of a run and finish in a somewhat respectable position, considering the very poor start they had in the season. 15th place onwards could literally be any team. I really struggled with this bit in the table. In 15th place by 1 point is Reading. Now Reading are in a pretty good run of form at the moment. 2 wins in a row against Barnsley and most recently Birmingham. And I think their performances have slightly improved under Mark Bone, which really surprises me at the time. I think, however, they will finish in a comfortable mid-table. For me, 2 wins but 4 draws I think will be the case. I think they'll be tough to beat, but I don't think they may be clinical enough consistently to get the maximum of 3 points, and I think they'll only lose 3 times in the last 9 games, which considering their form at the moment would make sense. 14th place on 60 points is Queen's Park Rangers. For me, one of the most difficult sides to predict, because if they score enough goals, Queen's Park Rangers will win, because their attack is insane, but defensively is a really key problem for Queen's Park Rangers. I'm predicting them to have 3 wins, a draw, and 5 defeats. Considering quite a few of the tough games they have, that's why I think they'll have those 5 defeats. But I think Queen's Park Rangers will keep their calm, get 3 wins in the process, and get up to 14th, which I think will be a decent season for them, considering how low I predicted them in my old Championship predictions. 13th place I've gone for Birmingham. Now Birmingham have just lost their winning streak, so we don't know if Birmingham are going to slump down or they're going to recover. For me, I think they'll have 5 wins and 4 draws. I actually don't think there'll be any in between. I think Birmingham could be on a little bit of a losing run after this. It'll make sense. I think they may lose their next 2 games, but I think then they'll pick it up and then go on a little bit of a run again, and then the season will just end because they'll have nothing to play for in the end. 12th and 11 are also on 62 points as well, so they are decided on goal difference as well. 12th is Cardiff and 11th is Blackburn. Cardiff have a little bit of a tricky run in, not the worst running, but for me, Cardiff are a really weird side to predict. Their performances really dip in quality in loads of the week. It's not consistent, which is why I'm not really backing them to have a huge run, although I am predicting them to have 5 draws. And if you know Cardiff, they've drawn the most games this season, so I think that's why they won't climb up the table that much. As with Blackburn, I think their wins, draws and defeats will be spread quite evenly with 2 wins, 3 draws and 4 defeats. Blackburn had a poor performance against Derby. They do have quite a few tough games, Blackburn, although a lot of these tougher games are at Ewood Park, which they do tend to get good results in, but I'm not too sure whether they're going to have the quality to get a maximum of 3 points. Blackburn's going to definitely be the side I keep my eye on. Now we get to the top 10 now. On 63 points, 1 point above the chasing pack is Derby County. Now Derby do have a somewhat tough run in. I'm backing Derby up for 3 wins, 3 draws and 3 defeats, and that with my league table has actually put them in 10th. With only 3 wins, Derby can still finish up to 10th, which is quite staggering. Undoubtedly their performance has improved since Wayne Rooney's come in, and if Wayne Rooney stays with Derby with next season, Derby could be a very dangerous side. In 9th place with 65 points for me is Swansea City. I think they'll have 4 wins and 5 defeats. Swansea are a side that they play well one game, but then they don't play well the next game. I actually really like their new transfers. I think they have improved attacking wise with those transfers as well, and with Borja Baston leaving as well, they would have had a load of pressure on their hands. But to be fair to them, Ryan Brewster, Conor Gallagher are all doing well. Andre Ayew still doing bits alongside with Bersat Selina as well. Swansea I think will be frustrating. I think they look like that they could overtake Preston in top 6, but I think a couple of bad results and then their position will be bogged down a little bit. So that's what I think will happen with Swansea. Now next place is Millwall. Now if you look back at my old prediction video, you'll be laughing at me, but I predicted Millwall to be relegated. Millwall I think could be the team that gets in the top 6. Because in terms of the running, I think they have one of the more favourable run-ins, but we've seen it already this season. A load of teams below the top 6, and even in the top 6, they're dropping points left, right and centre. No team can seem to be in a really good run of form. Millwall for me I think will have 3 wins, 5 draws, but only 1 defeat. I think in terms of their final 9 games, I think Millwall will not lose a load of them. That's what I think. Could be wrong. If there's one team who I think could get into the top 6, I think it will be Millwall. Now obviously there's one team finishing above them. For me, that is Bristol City. They've got 70 points. Bristol City pick up 4 wins, 3 draws and 2 defeats according to my championship table calculator predictions. Bristol City could go on a winning streak or a losing streak. I only think they'll lose 2 times though, because I think their running is not that bad compared to some of the other sides around them. I think maybe if they pick up 1 positive result, but go on a Lee Johnson streak and then they'll get in the top 6 momentarily, then they'll have 2 defeats in a row and they'll drop out again. I think that's exactly what will happen with Bristol City, and it'll be an ultimately frustrating season once again. So that means with the top 6, the current 6 teams, I'm still predicting them that they're still going to finish at the end of the season. Obviously, things can change. One team can go on an amazing run and go in. But for me, pattern of this season is just like everyone just doesn't want to go in the top 6. So I legit think all 6 teams are going to stay there. Preston are going to be on 72 points for me. In their last 9 games, I think they'll have 5 wins, 1 draw and 3 defeats. Even with 3 defeats for Preston, which I think they're very capable of doing in their last 9 games, they're still in the top 6. That just goes to show how tight this table is. 5th place, I put Nottingham Forest. I'm predicting them to have 4 wins, 1 draw and 4 defeats, which I think will make sense in the moment. But Nottingham Forest, they seem to be a little bit tired right now. They're quite inconsistent, especially at home as well. And they're playing a load of the sides that are actually below them in the table, which they have struggled. They've got a terrific record against the top 6, but I think Nottingham Forest will stay 5th. 4th place, I've gone with Brentford. 4 wins, 3 draws and 2 defeats. I don't think Brentford are going to lose that many games now. They do have a few tough games coming up. They've got one against Fulham and they've got one against Preston as well, but they're both home games, which I think Brentford will be okay with as well. I think with the squad they've got in front of them, I think Brentford are not going to drop out. And now you get a bit to a gap with the top 3. I generally think that those 3 teams are probably the best 3 teams in the championship as of now. Obviously, I think if you could tell the difference between a 3rd and 2nd place in terms of points, 8 points, you would know that I've got Fulham to finish in 3rd. For me, I think they'll win 5 games out of their last 9, which I think would make sense. I think they'll draw 2 and lose 2 as well, which can happen because occasionally Fulham do have the bad game now and again. For me, Fulham probably have the best squad out of all the teams in the playoffs, so they're probably going to be the favourites to be promoted via the playoffs, but all the players are going to have to stay consistent. Mitrovic is going to have to keep scoring if Fulham are going to get promoted. Fulham could overtake the likes of West Brom or Leeds, but they've got a pretty tough run-in, which is why I don't think they'll do it. That's why I think Fulham will finish 3rd. Now that means 2nd and 1st place is Leeds and West Brom, but I've got West Brom to finish in 2nd and Leeds to finish in 1st. West Brom on 89 points, Leeds with 90 points. Not the highest points total as we've seen in recent years, but that's probably because of the inconsistency all these sides have had in the season. But it's a favourable amount of points to win. So as with West Brom, and Leeds, I actually think they're going to have the same record. I think going to win 6 of their last 9 games, both draw once and both lose twice. I've been really critical on both of these sides because both of these sides could really have a bad game now and again. Leeds at the moment are in a terrific run of form, and I think if they keep this incredible run going, I think Leeds will definitely be more relaxed and be on the beach more than West Brom. I think West Brom do have to prioritise a few things more. If West Brom don't win their next game and West Brom go on a little bit of a winless run, West Brom are going to have to work even harder to try and get promoted. But I do back that both of these sides will be promoted. So as you see on the left hand side of the screen, that is what my current table looks like. On the right hand side of the screen, in case any of you are interested, that is what the table calculator looks like. What do you think of my predictions? Do you agree with me? Let me know in the comments down below. What sort of championship videos do you want me to do next? I'm thinking of doing a team this season very soon. If you guys want to see that, please let me know in the comments down below. But I think that wraps it up for today's video. If you guys like what you see, you want to see more championship content, please make sure you do give this video a like. It is tremendously appreciated. Please subscribe if you haven't done, or if you do around here, it will be tremendously appreciated. Could we reach a target to try and get to 150 subscribers before the season ends? 9 games left, could be possible. And please share this channel to as many championship fans, or as any football fans, or anyone as you can. All of that will be terrifically appreciated. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are legendary if you saw the end of this video. And as always, take care.